Hey guys, what's up? So I'm finally back in Bangkok. Ani, as you guys know, last week I was in Nepal for Barbenders go weekend ko lai. Ani, this video is basically about reflecting back on that weekend. Ke bhayo, what happened to all the athletes? How was the meet run? Basically, my thought process behind the scenes as अनि मेरो एथलिट्सहरू उनीहरूको ट्रेनिङ हिस्ट्री अनि how things had changed over the years and some of the mistakes we did together, some of the mistakes they did, some of the mistakes I did, अनि just share with you the learning experience as we go forward. अनि this will also be like a video to watch late next year when another barbenders हुन्छ अनि all the sort of things. Anyways, so as you guys know, I was coaching Dr. Mohit Karki. Mohit Dai bhanera refer garchu because that's more comfortable to me in real life man त्यही भन्छु. So Mohit Dai won the overall and his weight category. Obviously overall bhaneko चाहिँ body weight हेरेर Wilks मा पनि he won, which we weren't actually expecting, but anyways we won. त्यसपछि फुन्चोक छ, he won the under 82.5 kgs category. अनि अर्को एउटा भाइ आयुष भन्ने, he didn't win anything, but we weren't expecting him to win as well because उसले ट्रेन गरेको भर्खर 3-4 महिना भयो. अनि 4 महिना अगाडि when I had gone to Nepal मैले उसलाई squat bench press deadlift अनि online coach हुनु कुरा चाहिन्छहरू भनेर सिकाएको थिएँ. अनि उसकोलाई since he wants to do powerlifting for the long term, obviously as a hobbyist, तर meetमा compete गर्नु is obviously the first step, so he knows कसरी experience कस्तो हुन्छ अनि what he can expect moving forward, see where the competition is at. So I had him compete as well. But anyways, since it was a very successful meet for me as a coach, most of the people, even my athletes, were then referring me to being like the best coach and all those sort of things, and which is obviously a very good thing. I want to be the best at what I do, and I don't want it to completely get into my head and then you're the best one, because that's where it's where the learning stops and you get over yourself and you I'm just self-reflecting upon myself. Like originally when I started coaching was to help people get fitter, help people get motivated to train. Like my Instagram poster, but I used to try to motivate people. I used to try to get people into fitness, explaining kina chai garnu parcha fitness. And then when I started going online about a year ago, मेरो main purpose was to reach a broader audience. Even this YouTube channel, even Instagram, sabai ko reason is to reach a broader audience. So I want my vision to be intact. The reason why I started should be the reason that will keep me moving forward. So to be like the best guru type ko hundaina, because personally म आफै कुरा गर्दाखेरि पनि मलाई थाहा हुँदैन कतिवटा कुरा लाइक हुन्छ नि, लाइक के हुन्छ अब एथलिटको नेक्स्टमा के गर्ने. I don't have like an exact process हुन्छ नि, यो पछि यो I learn as I go, and there are some thoughts that changes over time. कुनै कुरा that I believed worked before I no longer believe in it. कुनै कुरा I thought was bullshit, now I have them do in the training program. When I make some mistakes with the programming sometimes. So anyways, let's get in our athletes one by one. So first athlete Mohit Dai, we started working together about a year ago. Exactly khasma bhandakari last year ko barbenders पछि then we started working together. He wanted me to like help him out with his training program, but I asked him if I could completely take over everything that he does in the gym, so it'll be easier for me to handle fatigue, handle a lot of things. So that's how we initially started. And Mohit Dai was actually my first online client bhanum na. I was obviously training people in person for about 2 years at this time, and I didn't really want to start online. I wanted to start online coaching for a long time, but I did not exactly know like कसरी गर्ने, कहाँबाट start गर्ने, because I just didn't want to rip off people of their money and not give them the proper service, because all the other athletes that I coached before this point were like my friends and other clients whom I coached in person. So coaching in person and coaching online is a very, a very completely different experience. And even though I had an online coach like Tion Agadin, I knew how he did things, because like even though I'm not trying to steal anybody's ideas or whatever, but you get the gist of how things work out. So I had a little bit of experience of online coaching, but I didn't exactly want to start it right away because when I started coaching Mohit Dai, at the time we weren't like bharkhare ta bheteko थियो, so we weren't the best of friends also, so there was like a little bit of a gap between us, but that could right like ठ्याक्कै feel गर्नु मिल्ने क्या, like not one-on-one coaching but not exactly online, so that helped me fill the gap in between, and that's when I actually started my online coaching journey भनौँ न, obviously with the goal to reach out a broader audience. And त्यसपछि then I started promoting slightly, then I had like a few clients, and then I got more comfortable. Now I'm in a place where I can handle a lot of clients, and I've been fortunate enough to have clients who trust me and believe in the process of getting better. That's what I preach all the time. So that's how Mohit Dai we got along. And after I moved to Bangkok, it was completely online matrai. So suruma चाहिँ that transition was like the perfect time for me to learn as well as coach online. By the way, Mohit Dai, we're coming out with the podcast one. We're coming out with the podcast where co-hosts and will be launched. The next video will probably be our podcast first episode. So stay tuned for that. To talk about Mohit Dai's training history, he was a bodybuilder before he started doing powerlifting. He competed in powerlifting but never specifically trained. We talk a lot about this in the podcast, but anyways, powerlifting sense he had some weaknesses at the end ranges of motion. So 1 year ago when I took him in, like I stripped down all his weight, like कति गर्नु सक्छ सबै strip out गरेर, then we started building from the ground up. So we were doing movements specifically that targeted the end ranges of motion, so pause squats deadlift with holds, because he was doing touch and go and his lockouts were weak, bottom position background because of the way of his training, not suited directly for powerlifting. He's one of those people he never questioned me whatsoever, like from the very first day, like whatever I made him do, he did that. But like like sometimes I used to be like, यस्तो bodybuilding background बाट आएको मान्छेलाई त अचानक powerlifting गरायो भने त they'll feel like I'm making them do less work भनेर मै साइको पर्ने. But he never ever questioned me with my programming from day one. So I transitioned, like मेरो आफ्नै दिमागबाट नि I transitioned him from like what I thought he was doing type of training towards what I want him to eventually be. And we did a mock meet in between. I control his entire training. Like most of my clients, most of my clients always ask me like, I want to do this instead of this, or like I want to add more stuff here. I feel like I can do more, I feel like I can do less. But like Mohit Dai is the only person who's never said anything or questioned anything. I've made few mistakes in his programming, but he never said anything or did anything but stuck to the plan, like from day one until Barbenders, and we're continuing to work even more after the short break he has. So that's about his training. He's come a very long way in his approach towards training. His technique has come a long way, and he's become more of a well-rounded powerlifter. So last year Barbenders हुने बेला चाहिँ he had dieted down from 125 kgs down to about 95 यस्तै for a bodybuilding show. त्यसपछि दाइको he lost a significant amount of strength in his bench press, so we took almost half the year to get the 150 wala strength back from like when he was 120, and त्यसपछि squat and bench press. To talk, let's move into, so more normally when we're competing in a powerlifting meet, just to take the thinking part out of the equation हुन्छ नि, like कतिले warm up गर्ने, कतिले this, कतिले that, कति open गर्ने, second attempt कति, third attempt कति, fourth attempt कति. More normally like यतिकै 1 week in advance with the taper week I have their game plan ready. So उनीहरूको squat को warm up यति यो टाइममा 10 minutes before your first attempt you do this, त्योभन्दा 5 minutes अगाडि this, त्योभन्दा 10 minutes अगाडि this, त्योभन्दा 45 minutes अगाडि foam rolling, त्योभन्दा 60 minutes अगाडि. So I have everything written down to the details. So last day मा stress हुँदैन, but even then I was with them to handle them भनौँ न. So Mohit Daiको first attempt was 235 kgs, which that's the number that he finished on his last meet prep. So that's the number that he finished on his last meet during bar benders one. So that goes to show a lot about how much progress is made. So this is 235 kgs. As you can see, it moves like a breeze. It looks so effortless. It, like, normally first attempt is somewhere around like your 89-90% range, but this actually looks like an RPE of maybe 5 or even 4. So maybe that would be like a bit underestimation of where we thought his numbers could have been. But we stick to the program from the very first day. I didn't want to make any adjustments to whatever we had planned for this particular day. Like I said, we planned it ahead of time. On the second attempt was 250 kgs. Here we had the spotters changed because we weren't allowed to have 5-man spot. That's what the head referee said. So he wanted to feel safer. So we got in some stronger guys to help spot him. Not that these boys were not strong, but it's always safer when it's even more safer. But shout out to Anish, Ashish and Ojas. They did a fantastic job spotting and loading on this particular day. But for this 250 kgs attempt, we Mora Pranish we stepped into just in case he needed help. But when we look at this, it looks like, again, less than an RPE of 7. I would say around RPE of 7 based on our experience. So this was a very easy attempt for him. त्यसपछि our plan, like normally first or second attempt I have it fixed. Ani third attempt depending on how the second attempt moves, if it moves really well, then we choose option 1, that was 260. And if we have alikati naramro huncha ni, like if there's any sticking point, then we choose option 2 because we don't want to miss any lifts. So on this particular day, our option 1 was 260 kgs. So after the last training day, 2 weeks out, when we had squatted 250 kgs and it felt like an RPE of 8, my thought process as a coach was to go for 262.5 kgs for our third attempt. But Mohit Dai Ramo, again, we made a decision that we'll go for 260 because it's safer, and that's the number that he wanted to do also. And but my thing was 262, but last month we ended up doing 260, and not to our surprise, it moved like easy breeze again, but not as easy as it looks, because normally Mohit Dai ko technique huncha ni, it's such that he loses tightness at the bottom of the lift, and that's when that happens, like even if there's like a little bit of sano pani, if there's a lateral movement, then that's already RPE 9.5 or RPE 9, but because he's normally very solid at the hole because of how big and massive his whole body, his quads, his core area is. But as you can see here, there's like a little bit of lateral shift at the hole right there. So that's our indicator that it's creeping over RPE of 9, because that normally never happens, and it only happens during like RPE 9, 9.5 or 10. And normally he's not much of a grinder either, so I think this would be around RPE 9 or 9.5. If I had to put money, I would say he could not do more than 265 kgs at this given day. 262.5 would have been the perfect option, but given the circumstances and the focusing on the total, I think 260 was the best chance for this. After this lift was done, like there was a small confusion. I thought like the lift not they go ki ho bhaira, but the head judge like called us, and he was actually asking if we could go for the fourth attempt race, okay? Because normally WRPF ma, if you get a record, national record or a world record or whatever, any type of record, then you can go for a fourth attempt also. So judge so they got, but that created a bit of a confusion. But he asked me, and I said no, we'll just move on to bench press because the total matters. And some of you might not know, but so squatting low bar also affects the bench press, because like your shoulders are used, your wrists are used. And this I could give a very good example, because last time when we did a mock meet at Gymkhana, we squatted 245 kgs with Muay Thai, and this was our planned third for our bench press was 150. But looking at how 140 went, because the 245 squat was like a very big grinder, our 145 our 140 bench was not as smooth, so we had to go for our option B, which was 140 kgs on that day. So squatting affects the bench press. And later next week he did like 240 a 235 squat, and then he could go for a 150 bench press, also a bigger deadlift, because and all these lifts correlate with each other. At the end of the day, it's the total that matters. And I think leaving some in the tank in the squats was a good idea, because as you can see later, we could go for a bigger even bigger bench press. So bench press ma pani bar benders ma last year his bench press was around his bench press was 135. I don't know, I think he missed 135 and he did 130 in the second attempt. But we opened here with 137.5 kg, so a bigger PR from last year. And which easily moved like air again. And normally he's not much of a grinder in the bench press also, but second attempt now we went for our planned second attempt was 145 kgs again. Given the fact everything was perfect, his bench press again was not much of a struggle at all. So I'm just looking at the screen over here. Yeah, so the bench press again was very, very smooth. And in bench press mapani, we had, since we had done 150 kgs at the gym, our third attempt was planned to be 150 or 152 or 155.5, depending on how 145 feels based on our training history. And it moved very, very easy. I would probably call it an RPE of 8, right around where it actually should be 8.5 for the second attempt. So if we have more power we have more strength left for the third attempt. On third attempt, without a doubt, like without a thought, I just said let's put option 1. That was 155 kgs. I feel like Mohit Dai was like a bit slightly hesitant about taking the 155 kgs, because that's obviously the most weight you've lifted on ekachoti. 5 kgs PR on a bench press is a big deal. PR was a big deal, and he had done 150 when he was much heavier, and when he was only upper body heavy, like long time back, maybe 2 years back. He was slightly hesitant about that, but I was quite confident that it would go up Panera. As you can see in the video, like he just tells like those two guys like don't touch if unless it goes down Manera. And he goes there, and even the head judge Vishal, he thought he told us later he thought the jump was too big a jump, and he told some people that he won't be able to get it. But as you can see here, it was quite a grinder, and I was the one holding this camera. Like at this point I was like, hey, come on, but I didn't want the I didn't want the video to go off. And this part is really funny. Like the tackle lift sakeपछि the Ashish like he gets really hyped up, and Ashish like he tries to give Mohit Dai a high five, and then he completely ignores him. That part is a bit funny, and I was really excited, because bench press is one of his weaker lifts, and is also one of my weaker lifts. And like Mohit Dai he literally gives everybody like a fist bump, and he shakes hands, except the one guy who actually wanted him to give a high five. Except him, he gives everybody a high five. You can see here, and it was a very good moment for me, because I'm a weak bench presser, and Mohit Dai also has like a relatively weak bench press. So it was really exciting to see this happen. We had यसपछि हाम्रो deadlifts थियो. So deadlifts is one of his strongest. Now Mohit Daiko strongest lift is his bench, is his squats, but deadlift used to be his strongest lift before. So his gym PR is around 260 kgs, and last year bar benders he did 245 kgs, but he had even done 255, but he let the bar go and it was not counted. So this time we couldn't let that happen. We trained every single time. We never let the bar go down in training. अनि राम्ररी ट्रेन गरेको थियो योपालि चाहिँ. So we opened with 245 kgs deadlift. So last year को PR बाट we opened this year, and again, like all his lifts, it flew up very very easily, like no problem at all, just very easy. Yeah. So यो बेला चाहिँ ठ्याक्क like deadlift गर्ने बेला चाहिँ is the time when you should start using some strategies like overall कसरी जित्ने, look around what other people are doing, अनि कसरी we can make it better भनौँ न, so कसरी we can have the upper edge कसरी पाउने भनेर is the time when you start looking. अनि there was another guy who was very close to Mohit Dai, Ayush, I don't know उसको full name के हो, but Ayush Liss भनेर Instagram मा छ, young guy अनि new to the sport, so he was very close for the overall wicks standing for this. And in a competition like this, like our obviously, like it's so cliche, like you're your own best competition, you are your own competition, be the better version of yourself, and that all those may be true, but in a competition setting like this, those are all bullshit. You gotta do what it takes to win. Nobody would ever be happy if somebody says I beat the best version of myself, but I lost by 1 will point. I could have done, but I beat my previous self, so I'm happy. त्यस्तो कोही पनि हुँदैन. So त्यस्तो कोही पनि हुँदैन. So we just we had the advantage because we were going late, अनि आयुष भाइ गइसकेको थियो before we went. If we had done 270 kgs, we could beat him by a small margin. Tara we went for, and our planned second was 260 kgs here, but what we did is we changed it to 200. I wanted to change it to 255, but Mohit Dai wanted to go 257.5 because that would be like a meet PR for him, and it's still less than 260, would still burn us out less, so we went for 257.5 kgs for his second attempt. Like all the other lifts, it went up really easily. And our third attempt was supposed to be 275 or 270 kgs, but if Ayush was not a competition, I would have made him gone for 275 kgs, but since we could just chip on Ayush and secure the overall, we went for 270 kgs. That would allow him to win the competition in the overall standings by 0.94 Wilks point. So, and 270 is less likely to miss than a 275, obviously, but I knew he could get 275, but just to secure the win, we went for 270 kgs, which got us the win. But we also requested for a fourth attempt because we wanted to get 275, the number that was in our head. But given the circumstances, 9 lifts done, and that was the last lift of the day, and all the people had to wait for him. We couldn't rest long enough to make 275 happen, but he lost grip on his left hand, but it's just part of the game. We probably lost like 5 kgs on the total because we changed our game plan, but all in all, it was a very very good competition. We ended up winning, obviously, like I said before, the overall and his weight category with a total of 685 kgs, which is a massive total for the population, for the lifting population that we have in Nepal. And I'm very proud to be called his coach, and he's on a 2 weeks off because he's 1 week the meet पछि चाहिने हाल्यो, but he's also moving outside Kathmandu for some time in Dasai and all those sort of things. But we'll be back with trainings training again soon, and can't wait to see where this journey leads us. To wrap this video up, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Ani mo arko duita athletes ko चाहिँ next video ma banaunchu. It won't be as long because I won't have so many things to say about them, but it's a completely different experience for each one of those athletes, and it'll be a fun video for sure. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you're interested in online coaching, powerlifting, bodybuilding, anything that can be done in the gym, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. You can email me, you can write a comment down below, and I'll try to get back to you. If you want just general questions answered, you can always obviously send them to me when I do a question and answer on Instagram. And if you want nutritional advice, nutritional coaching, Dr. Mohit can help you out because he's very good at those stuffs, and you can go to him through me or directly contact, or you can have us both coach you at the same time also, in terms of nutrition and training side by side, because we communicate quite a lot. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.